Namanda, 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 namanda. Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Dharma School and Dharma Family Service. Today, we're just going to do Nembutsu chanting. We haven't done this in a while. And so Nembutsu is Namo Amida Butsu. So I'll say it once, and then everyone repeat with me 5 times, okay? Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Namanda Nama. Okay, today Dharma School is going to be going downstairs for their lesson. So before that, I want to tell you a story. This story happened almost 50 years ago. I grew up in Massachusetts, and there was a toy store called Bowen's Toys, and I loved that place. I used to go there as a kid, and once I went, and they had, I really liked dinosaurs. Anyone like dinosaurs? They're pretty cool, right? And so I really liked dinosaurs, and back then we didn't have all your fancy video games and all that stuff. We didn't have cable TV, we didn't have videotapes or anything, DVDs, right? We didn't have streaming. All we had was the stuff in front of us, and one of the coolest things you could have was a dinosaur model. Right, the plastic model. There was all these different pieces, and you had to cut the pieces off and then glue it together and maybe paint it afterwards, right? And so I had a bunch, and you knew which ones they had. And once I went in the store, and I think it was with my mom, and saw one that I'd never seen before. I can't remember which one it was. I thought maybe Ankylosaurus. Then I thought maybe Dimetrodon, but I think it was just a Triceratops. That's the one with the 3 horns, right? With the tri, right? And so I saw it, and I thought, that's so cool. But my mom didn't have money to get it. So we went home, and I saw my friend, and I told my friend about it. I was like, it was so cool. It's a Triceratops. I never saw that before. And so later on, my dad, after he got home from work, he took me to the store. So we went, and I was going to get the Triceratops. My friend was there, and they bought it first. And they didn't have another one. I was like, well, Dad, maybe ask the store people. Maybe they have another one. They only had one. And my friend grabbed it before me. What do you think? How do you think I felt? Mad? Jealous? Right? Sad? Anything else? I think I was disappointed. Disappointed in my friend grabbing it out from under me, right? I don't actually remember how I felt. But if I think about it now, you know how I feel now? Can you guess? Gratitude, grateful. I actually feel grateful now, right? Because my parents took me to the store, right? Because my friend was a friend, even if that wasn't the nicest thing to do, he was still a friend of mine. I have a story to tell you 50 years later. It's funnier than it was when it happened, right? Sometimes we go through stuff and we don't really like it, but later on it makes a good story, right? And so even though, right, that this seems like maybe I should feel sad, and yet when I think about it, especially my parents, right, and realizing how much they did for me, that they took me to the store to go get the Triceratops, that I had other models, right? To be honest, I got one later, and I think it was Triceratops because his foot was raised up, and then it had a styrofoam base that it would sit on. So he didn't stand up so good by himself, but on the base he was working, but you had to paint it. And I tried painting it, and it just looked awful. And so I was kind of disappointed once I got it, right? So even when I actually finally got the Triceratops, I wasn't satisfied, right? I was disappointed once again because it wasn't as great as I thought, and I couldn't even really paint it that well. This happened, I must have been 8 or 9, maybe 10. Maybe that was one of my first Buddhist experiences, right? I think, I need this, I need that, it's so cool. And then when I can't get it, I'm sad, disappointed, upset, right? And yet, later as a Buddhist, realizing, wow, that my happiness wasn't in getting the thing. Even when I got it, that wasn't what made me happy, right? Thinking back now, even though my parents have been gone over 20 years, and yet still gratitude for my parents and how much they did for me, and also my friends and my family and my Sangha. So, can we conclude the Dharma talk with Gassho, and then we're going to sing, and then we'll dismiss the students. So Gassho, please. And actually, when we recite Nembutsu, one way to think of it is gratitude, right? Saying thank you to Buddha. So recite after me. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Oh, I have Gassho bears there to help me remember. And then we're going to sing farewell. Page 45 in the small purple book. Dharma school is over for another day. Let us gather round the shrine, bow our heads and say, thank you, teacher, for your help. Buddha's love will keep us safe till our work is done. So we'll meet again next week. Won't you take good care? Let us try to do what's right, always kind and fair. We shall spread the happiness faith in Buddha brings. Now it's time to say goodbye till we meet again. Namo Amida Butsu, sing this fine refrain. Namo Amida Butsu, sunny day or rain. Namo Amida Butsu, strong in faith remain. Namo Amida Butsu, till we meet again. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. Okay, let's dismiss the students to class. You can come up and do Oshoku if you have not done so already. I'm going to close the door and shutters, so because we're going to be in the same area here, and I'm going to talk about that a little bit. So we'll be right back. Okay, we're back. So I'm going to continue on this theme, right? The Dharma School is doing a lesson on gratitude, and that story about the dinosaur model just popped into my head last night. I've thought about it maybe once or twice over the years, but it's from a long time ago. And the toy store is no longer there. It was at the Great Road Shopping Center in Bedford, Massachusetts. And I still, there was the Purity Supreme was the name of the supermarket, which to me sounds like a really dumb name now, but it was like just the name, right? And Bowen's Toy Store was there, and like a one of those stationery and bookstores kind of places, drugstore kind of place. And that's gone, long gone. I forget, Dorothy something or other. We used to listen to like WJIB, the kind of mellow music station was playing all the time, and all these memories. I still dream about this parking lot, right? I still have dreams about going to this place. It was like such a meaningful part of my life. But then realizing I really don't remember a lot of my feelings from that time, but with time comes a different perspective, right? That like the way I felt at the time is different than I feel now. And I can think about it differently as a Buddhist, certainly. Like I think that being Buddhist gives us different perspectives to view things from, right? At the time, I'm sure I only saw it from my perspective. I want this toy, I don't have it, I'm disappointed, I'm mad at my friend for grabbing it from me, right? And all these feelings, me. I wanted it. And then that kind of emptiness and loss of not having it, dissatisfaction, right? First noble truth, life is suffering. Second noble truth is because of desire, right? And that we're just not satisfied, never satisfied. That suffering is actually dukkha, which can also be translated as dissatisfaction, often translated as suffering. But I think it is that kind of not being satisfied, right? That we think these material objects are going to bring us happiness, but they rarely do. And yet, thinking about my friend who I haven't seen since maybe 1984, haven't talked to him since then, just totally lost touch, because we moved to Japan. So I actually, all my friends from elementary school, I've only really seen one or two of them since then. And yet, fond memories of growing up with them. Here's why I have to compete with Dharma School. And I apologize, right? It's kind of hard. I'm distracted, right? Hearing voices down there. But our classroom building got dinged. We had to do some work on it. And then when the city inspector came, said, this doesn't pass inspection. What are you people doing? Kind of thing, right? And so it's been about a month trying to get the power turned back on. They shut off the power in the classroom building. And so it finally got approved on Thursday. And now we have to wait for PG&E to come to actually turn the power back on. So we've been doing everything here in the big, we do all kinds of stuff over there. Flower arranging, Japanese school, Dharma school, it's all had to be in this building because of all that. So I was talking to someone, here's one of the reasons, the building back there is built right up to the edge of the property line. You're not supposed to do that. And so he's looking at it like, no, you can't have a power box like right at the edge of the property line. You're going to have to put in some protective barriers so that somebody can't crash into it. And you're going to need an easement because it's a different lot. It's like, we own both. Doesn't matter. You need to get an easement to do this. So typical bureaucracy kind of stuff, right? The building was built in 1962. That's a long time ago, huh? It's older than me. Or it was dedicated in 1962. And so someone was asking me yesterday, what were they thinking? Why did they build it up to the line? Come on, can't they, isn't there some Buddhist thing here that's so stupid to build it that way? And then I realized, I think that, I'm sure they felt they were doing a wonderful job, right? And doing something for the community, maximizing space as much as possible. Did people even think about that stuff back then? I don't know. Back then, in the good old days, maybe if you knew somebody, they'd sign off on it. Yay, right? And so who knows? I have no idea, right? Did they not think about that? Did the architect not think about it? Was it built and the inspector came and said, you're not supposed to build it that way, but okay, I don't know, right? And so this person was saying, you know, they built it in such kind of a weird way. I wonder if, no, I think their intention was good. Right? And they gave us this wonderful building that we've been able to use for decades, right? And so sometimes with hindsight, right, we can say, oh, it should have been like this or it should have been like that. With karma, right, it took 60 years to ripen. Building up to that line was fine until 60 years later, right? And I know that the people that built it did not intend for that to happen, right? For the power to get shut off, right? But that's how things work sometimes, right? That all of our actions bring out results. And intention is part of it, but not the whole thing, right? And so building the building up to that level had kind of negative consequences 60 years later, right? And so that we're getting the fruits of those karmic acts, right? And also, it's not just a one-to-one thing, right? It's not just one decision that was made and, oh, now this is happening. So many causes and conditions, right? I'm sure money was raised to build the building, right? And the plans, getting the land. I think the land was probably donated by families, right? And so it's actually really, really wonderful. And yet, sometimes negative things happen as well. And so I thought that was really interesting to think, what were they thinking? Like a kind of angry reaction to the way it was built. And yet, right, we can kind of back up, look at it from a different perspective maybe, think about it more in terms of gratitude. Right? And that I think that that's maybe a lot of Buddhism is in this area of kind of perspective, right? And realizing I see things from my perspective, right? I see things because of who I am, and I judge them because of who I am and because of my thoughts and because of my karma, right? If I could view it from another perspective, maybe I'd see it differently, right? Maybe I could see things in a different light. And I really feel like maybe that's part of Buddhism, is encouraging us to, okay, I mean, my perspective is okay. That's me. Right? But it's not the only perspective. Right? And so maybe Namo Amida Butsu, saying the Nembutsu, can help me remember that. Right? Help get me out of this tunnel vision kind of way of looking at it, my own perspective, see it from another perspective. It could be another person's perspective. It could be more of a aerial perspective, right? Seeing the big picture more, right? Hearing of 3 or 4 or 5 different perspectives maybe gives me an even better view of closer the way things actually are and not just my way of looking at it. I think talking helps sometimes, right? Talking about it with people, and maybe we don't do that enough. And if I don't talk with someone else, it's all in here, you know, it's like just spiraling out of control, right? If I can talk to someone else, and then they give me a different perspective, it's like, oh, maybe you're right. And so talking can help with that, but maybe as Shin Buddhists, Namo Amida Butsu, say the Nembutsu, just say the Nembutsu, right? This has been my message for a few months, and when I kind of realize I'm getting stuck in my perspective, stuck from my viewpoint, that namandab kind of jar me loose, right, from clinging to my perspective. That's another aspect of desire, right? First noble truth, life is suffering. Second noble truth, that suffering or dukkha is caused by desire, but it could also be attachment, attaching to things, right? And that's what we do. No, I'm right. I know I'm right. I'm attaching to my perspective, attaching to my judgment, right? Just holding on to it. And so maybe, and then if you can remove the cause, you can remove the result. So if I can remove the attachment and desire, maybe I can remove some of the suffering. Right? And that's not easy to do, but maybe Namo Amida Butsu can be part of that. Right? We don't even realize we're doing it half the time. Right? So that's where maybe getting in the habit of saying Nembutsu, because it's not a tool for me to use, it's something bigger. Right? And if I can bring Namo Amida Butsu into my life, maybe that can help me get this different perspective. And especially if we can get that gratitude perspective. It doesn't erase other perspectives. I'm going to talk about that in the Shotsuki service. But for now, why don't we conclude the Dharma talk with Gassho and saying the name of the Buddha, right? Reciting this Nembutsu as part of getting a different perspective, and also in gratitude and appreciation to Amida Buddha for accepting me as I am. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Okay, wow, I finished even earlier than I thought, but I think it's okay. Today's kind of a special day and don't want to impinge on the Dharma School too much. And we're going to have our Shotsuki monthly memorial service, but we're going to have some announcements. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I think we might be able to. Yeah. I'm not connected to the thing either. Yeah. They're in class. Not to this one. We can turn it, actually.
I was having trouble connecting to it this morning. Yeah, I don't know why. This is the second time I've had trouble with it. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Thank you very much for coming today. While Sensei's getting things ready here, I have a couple of announcements. Let's see. This is for people that are basically watching online. Our next service will be next Sunday, which is actually Spring Ohigan, and that'll be happening at 10 a.m. Next Sunday, March 16th. Our next Dharma Chat will be also next Sunday after Ohigan, and that'll be at 10:45. And then our next study class is actually this Saturday. So we'll have Saturday study class at 1 o'clock, and then Sunday Dharma Chat at 10:45 after Spring Ohigan. Okay. And again, our Spring Ohigan service will be next Sunday at 10 a.m. where we celebrate the spring equinox. Another thing that I've been kind of promoting over this past few weeks is the special screening of Kintsukuroi, a movie about the internment. It'll be at the Oakland Museum of California, up the street here, on Saturday, March 22nd from 1 to 5 p.m. And the proceeds will support the pre-K through 12 Asian American Summer Institute of the East Bay. So there's a poster downstairs on the bulletin board. You can also get there from our BCO website, BuddhistChurchOfOakland.org. Another thing that's happening is our field trip to the stupa in San Francisco at the Buddhist Church of San Francisco, and a luncheon to follow when you get back here to Oakland. That'll be on Sunday, April 27th, and that'll be, we'll take a bus and go to San Francisco to participate in the Sunday service there with Reverend Melissa Opal. And then she'll take us up to the stupa up on the roof of the church. There are some stairs there, so it might be some challenges for those who have a hard time with stairways and things. So take a look at the pictures that I took of the stairs on the website. So there's a page, and then you could sign up as well. So sign-ups are already being taken now. And if you have trouble with it, let me know or let the office know. Something else I want to present to you is the Buddhist BCA Center for Buddhist Education is presenting Yoga and the Three Treasures, which is Friday, May 23rd through Sunday, May 25th. That's Memorial Day weekend. And it'll feature a bunch of different people, including our own Norma Hoshide will be participating, presenting at this weekend event. So that's happening over Memorial Day weekend at the Jodo Shinshu Center in Berkeley. So you're welcome to sign up through the BCA Center for Buddhist Education. 200 plus club tickets are on sale. So they're the big yellow tickets. So please go ahead and take a look at that. And it's a monthly raffle with big cash prizes. And it's going to support the heating vent, air conditioning system, and related costs. And there are a lot of them. So that's happening now. And we'll have our first drawing next month in April. That's all I have. Thank you for supporting the Buddhist Church of Oakland. We accept gifts of any size, whether it be here in the Hondo or outside, or over on our website through our PayPal portal. If you have any questions, go ahead and let us know. Thank you very much, and I'll send it back to Sensei. It could be something that we do downstairs later, you know. I showed a video, Steve is referencing a video produced by the Buddhist Churches of America on the value and significance of the BCA. And I showed it to the Momiji Kai this past couple days ago on Thursday. We had about 30 people from Momiji Kai on Thursday, and it was really well received. It's a very nicely done video narrated by Michiko Inanaga of the BCA Endowment Foundation and produced by Len Tao of the Video and Film Group Committee of the BCA. Anyway, it's like a 7.5-minute video. It's really well done, and if you stick around, maybe we could show it when we're downstairs a little later. Okay? Thank you. Sensei?
Thank you, Robert. So this will conclude our Dharma family service. Thank you very much. And I think we have stuff set up in the foyer, so we don't have to go into the hall while they're doing their lesson. But let's conclude with Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. Okay, thank you. 11 o'clock, we'll do our Shotsuki Hoyo and adult Dharma service, so everyone's welcome to attend, even if it's not your Shotsuki. And you can come in Oshoko if you haven't had a chance.